Hi, Isamaya.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Yes, very well, thank you. Very well, thanks. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. You've had a busy time, haven't you? Because I want to ask you about the work you were doing over at LCM, particularly the amazing makeup that you did at Agi and Sam. And tell me, how did you first start collaborating with the boys? Because it's not your first season working with them, is it? You also did their kind of amazing Lego and masks last season. Tell me about how you came to work with them.
Thanks. Yeah, they approached me last season when we did the Lego masks, just as kind of, I hadn't really had any contact with them before that, but they just sort of fired me an email and asked if I wanted to collaborate. So I went to their studio and just to see what they were working on. And I really liked it. And it was kind of quite in line with the work that I was doing at the time, which was based around this kind of kid style illustration. So it just seemed to kind of go hand in hand really nicely. So yeah, this is only the second season with them, but I hope to keep working because they're pretty open-minded about makeup.
Yeah, I got that impression. Now, tell me about what you did for this stage. It was really beautiful, but it was quite dramatic. You know, kind of sort of really covered a lot of the boys' faces. Tell me about kind of where the idea came from.
Well, the collection, this kind of striped collection was inspired by. It was kind of like a bit of a pajama collection, like nighttime. And originally they were going to go down the kind of like horror story, ghost story line, and perhaps with like another children's kind of horror story twist. But I guess I just would have thought it would have been a shame to do something sort of quite childish again. And so we decided to run with the nighttime theme, but try and make it a bit more kind of a bit grungier somehow, a bit more grown up. So we started working with like airbrush and sort of stenciling and this kind of starry sky, but just the idea to kind of still keep it kind of grungy, I suppose. We started like removing it as well. So most of the language is there, but it was just, of course, the whole thing. We didn't want to kind of like overdo it, as there were so many sort of stripes going on as well. Just wanted something to kind of clash quite nicely.
And how long did it take to do each boy's face? Was it actually quite quick? Because I suppose you were just kind of working over a stencil.
Well, actually, on the actual morning, we decided to scrap that idea and try and do something with UV paint. So for about an hour, we started working on the boys doing this UV paint thing on their faces. So that the idea was that there was UV lighting used in the show, and that the idea was that they'd come out and have this like glow-in-the-dark paint on their face that you wouldn't see until the lights had turned off. But sadly, the power wasn't really strong enough on the lighting, so to like take all of that off and then be like, right, what do we do now? Okay, let's go back to the star idea. So we only had about an hour to get everyone ready.
Oh my god, that sounds incredibly stressful.
It was quite stressful, but we kind of did it like a production line. So we just kind of did every single stage on the boys. We didn't complete one, let's move on to the next. We just ran it as a little production line.
And tell me, one thing that I wondered is, do you think there's still a bit of a taboo around kind of makeup on men's runways? Because there's a lot of people who kind of pioneered and pushed it, you know, like Vivienne Westwood, you see it a lot at her man show, but I don't think it is that common. And do you feel that a little bit?
I guess so. I'm not asked to do as many men's shows as women's, but I mean, it's up to the designer really and how he wants his man to be portrayed. And I suppose like Agi and Sam are great, and Christopher Shannon, who I also worked with again this season, because I suppose they look at the model or the guy, the person wearing the garments as a bit more of a whole, you know, sort of objectified a bit, which is quite cool because I suppose the intention often is to have like, who is the man that's wearing the clothes, whereas you kind of seem to like, with those two shows, the man is part of the clothes, you know what I mean? So it's like one wearing the other. Yeah, so I guess, it just depends. I mean, boys don't tend to wear makeup anyway, but it's more of like an arty piece with those two. So it's more of like a statement. So.
And tell me just a little bit about kind of the products that you use, because you mentioned obviously for Agi and Sam it's a very particular style, but are there particular sort of tricks that you have up your sleeve, things that you rely on a lot? Because I know you started your career in face painting, so I wonder how you kind of, whether you still mix face paint with kind of traditional makeup. What do you kind of gravitate towards?
Yeah, I still use face paint. I use an airbrush, and I mean, the airbrush thing I'm just kind of doing using in quite a relaxed way at the moment. And I guess at some point I want to move into a much more like defined and neat way of using it. But I think it's tricky when you've got like 23 boys to do something neat with an airbrush. So part of it's working with the product and the best way to use them in the sort of to maximise their usage and the time that you've got. So it was worth it making it messy, rather than trying to. And also the other thing is a lot of the time I have really like amazing assistants that work with me, but I tend to do all like the main bits myself. So I have to factor that in as well. It's fine to ask people to like do a line or to copy something, but if you're going to do something full on and I have to do it myself, I've got to factor in that I'm going to have to like really rush on all of these things. So there's all sorts of elements that kind of go into why a look ends up how it does.
And have you got a busy fashion week coming up? Are you doing any more exciting things? Are you allowed to stay, or are you going to be busy?
I'm skipping Paris sadly this year, but really a timing thing. But I'm going to be in Milan doing quite a big show for Marcelo Berlon, so that should be good. I'm making a lot of big pieces for that as well, so it's not just makeup, it's kind of like, it's not garments, it's like accessories and stuff. So yeah, it's quite busy. It's a busy time at the moment.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Well, congratulations, the show looks beautiful. It was very, really amazing to look at.
Thank you.